one more sip. Hey everyone, Mr. Happy here, and welcome to part 2 of our Naoki Yoshida translation overview video, whatever I'm going to end up calling this, who knows. In the last video, we covered a few translations from Naoki Yoshida's New Year's trips to the various Japanese servers. In this one, we're going to be covering some of the other servers, Masamune, Gungnir, and Ramu. I should have also mentioned in the last one, I've referenced 14th's translation that was in the comment section. Carrier of Light also helped and corrected some of those translations, and is also the person providing us with the translations right here. I'm sure if there's any other translators who have added corrections, that there will probably be credit to them present here. But thank you, Carrier of Light. I've referenced your translations before, I feel, and it's good work. So thank you very much for the hard work for all of this, because this is a lot of information. So first we're going to start with the Masamune questions. And I love the first question. It's sad how equipment becomes garbage so quickly. You had to translate that. That is a fantastic first question. And he's like, it's an item level based game. What are you gonna do? Please enjoy your gear with the glamour system. I mean, it's right. What else are you gonna do? From what I read, it seems like you can't put glamour items in the glamour wardrobe if you want to glamour your retainers or squadron members. So I hope you do something about it. That's a good point. Something I never thought about with the glamour commodes. And they said that that's how it is now, but they'll improve the system. Squadrons, you should be able to use the wardrobe in the future. So no mention of retainers, but at least for squadron members, they're going to be considered. Will Black Mage become stronger? We covered this in the last video. DPS alone, Black Mage are strong, but adjustments will allow it to be used more comfortably. Okay, I could get with that. Can you let us get achievements more easily for content people don't do anymore? That could be the old PvP modes that aren't populated anymore. That could be Diadem. And he mentions that. We'll be making adjustments to frontlines to improve queue times in the future, more likely to all the frontlines modes. Considering Rival Wings is also separate from frontlines. We still haven't decided on Diadem, but maybe we'll allow players to get the achievements via a different method. Any plans on a new gate? Those are the Gold Saucer versions of Fate, and they said there's going to be new gates and mini games going into the Gold Saucer, as long as none of them are Blitzball. I heard you're going to fix the everyone go to the center problem in Rival Wings, but you're also considering fixing the north side of the map being easy to protect, difficult to attack. Great question, because I have the same problem with that map. And they said there's going to be a lot of changes. They'll be sure to go over them when the relevant time is around. Any plans for another symphony concert? They could do one at some point. You know, then they will. If they want to, they will, and they'll work together with other companies to get it to go again. Can you please allow us to turn in normal raid equipment, like Omega Normal, for Grand Company seals in odd-numbered patches? And they said that if it were to happen in odd-numbered patches, it won't fully reach the players who want to use the gear, so we deliberately have it spaced out. He's meaning that people will go into normal mode and just to roll on stuff for Grand Company seals, and the players who might actually be trying to upgrade gear through that method would be at a disadvantage. So, understandable. So that's why the answer is no. Is there a reason why Gaius doesn't show up in Deep Dungeon? Don't tell me he isn't dead. Oh, somebody, Ethis, did you nudge someone over on, well, this isn't on Tonberry, but I guess that doesn't make a difference. Anyway, they said, it's not like every dead character shows up here. You can't say Gaius isn't dead just based on that. But he didn't say he isn't dead. I'll feel the fire a little bit. Is it a difficult task to be able to change how ceilings look? The original system wasn't designed to be able to customize ceilings and lights. Talking about in housing. So, next question. Can you raise the strength on tank accessories? The problem where crafted gear is better than the higher item level gear is occurring again. They are aware of the problem and discussions are still going on. Don't discuss it. Just more strength. There you go. More strength. Please make more 8-man dungeons. It won't be an 8-man dungeon, but we are planning difficult 4-man content. I would have to guess, with the comments they made about Deep Dungeon several months ago, that is in direct reference to the fact that they want Deep Dungeon to have multiple different methods of playing without necessarily needing to climb a ton of floors. So I'm going to assume that's what they're referring to there, but that's an assumption, so don't take it as gospel. Any news on selling the Kryl outfit? Still outfitting it to the other races. No plans on new climbing games for a while. Do I not remember something? Climbing? I'm assuming that means the jump puzzles, or the jump puzzles specifically in the Gold Saucer, because that's for me what the climbing game is. So they said they'd like to do something interesting with it, so we'll see. I don't mind being somewhere out of sight, but sightseeing logs for Kugane is difficult and is annoying having the effect in town. Basically, this person's asking if you could disable the effects for displaying sightseeing logs if you have no intention of doing them. Interesting thing I never thought of. He said it's a tough one and laughs. I guess he typed LOL because he wasn't physically there to laugh. But I guess maybe it's something they could do. I want 8-man content we can farm casually as a group. I have received your requests. Moving on. Can you allow us to set field markers by specifying the axis? We do want to make ground markers and targets and markers placeable with macros. So basically what they mean is, you know how like with a macro you do target or target of target or focus target? Basically they want to be able to put the exact X and Y axes in the macro for the marker, so when they go into a raid they can press the macro and it'll put all the markers down in all the right spaces, which is a pretty awesome idea. So if they could somehow do that, they said they have other things to prioritize first, but I am totally in support of that, because that'd be cool. I would like that. So you know, party in front of Sasha hard mode, is that like another version? They're like another version of Edda and her party. Is that story going anywhere? Edda's popularity exploding was unexpected, so they turned it into its own story. They didn't have anything planned for Edda initially. If something were to happen with another character, they might do something similar to what they did with Edda, which is cool, because I really like what they did with her. It's great how we can become friends with people outside of our servers, but can you make it visible when they are in instance areas or in a state when we can send them tells? When you're in an instance area, it's like being on another server, so we can't do that. Feels bad, man. Let's see. Can you raise the limit on the number of retainers we can have? They have plans to add more. Probably paid. Who knows? We'll see. Please add more housing items we can place on tables. For example, bottles. They add new housing stuff all the time, so just give them some time. So we know the requirements for a new. So we don't know the requirements for the new crafting and gathering HQ items. We can't meld our gear before the patch arrives. Any way you can show us in advance? They said no, because that would throw the economy. The economy would go wild if you knew exactly what you needed to have before the patch actually came out. So no. How about having official polls for the most popular character in each genre? We have had one for the Chinese version, so they could do one for the global version. Can you improve the adventure and need bonus? Continue to discuss it. Can you raise the HP on I tried asking him this. Can you raise the HP on a Realm Reborn S-Mob so the amount of matches the current patch? I never understand the answer to this question. I don't know why the answer to this isn't just yes. If we do that, new players who are playing in these zones will have trouble joining in. Do you mean the new players who are like level 20 and shouldn't have anything to do with the hunt anyway? Or do you mean like level 50 players that are going to survive the attacks anyway and should be okay? Either way, your answer doesn't make any sense to me. It didn't make any sense when I asked him the last time I got to ask Yoshida some questions. Just do it, all right? Just do it. It just doesn't make any sense to me. Can you make the daily roulettes into tickets so we can save them up? This has been a long time request. Said they're discussing it. There's two sides. It's if you make it tickets and people don't do it all week, and then they get to the last day of the week and like, oh, I can't be bothered to do these. There's too many of them. And then if you don't leave dailies as dailies, humans are designed to not do them anyway, or not do them anymore. So basically, as soon as you take away like sort of like the daily thing, people just kind of start forgetting about it, and they do it whenever they want, and then it's not even really a daily roulette. So I understand it, but I am a fan of the ticket system overall, but I can understand why you wouldn't do it. Please add more housing plots. They are adding more housing plots. I want to wear a kimono. Any plans on adding kimonos? We will add more stuff like that in the future, more Eastern themed stuff. With the new glamour wardrobe, do you need to carry around dyes if you want to change the color on them? This was answered in the live letter. If you have the item in the wardrobe dyed beforehand, you can use that color when you glamour the items. You can also make it where only the gear with the glamour commode applied to it is dyed. So you can leave the commode itself undyed. Okay. I want simple lace-up boots for men. Please, I'll do anything. I will tell them about the boots. I love some of these answers. Is it difficult to allow us to take our Chocobo companion into dungeons? With squadrons, not a possibility they ever do that anymore. Oh, well, no, I'm sorry. Now that we have squadrons, it isn't out of possibility anymore. He didn't say they'll do it, but he said it's possible to do now. So, honestly, I don't care at this point. Like, I just don't. So, whatever. I don't know. Whatever they want to do, just do it. Let us have dark matters and dyes in our currency tab. Dyes, there may be too many dyes to do that, but dark matter seems like it could be possible. Will we ever see a fourth role other than DPS? You mean other than tank healer and DPS? For the meantime, we'll be sticking to the current 3 roles. I want Makote and Aura men to have more muscles. Can you make that in the character creator? So they'd have to change the frame, so it's a little difficult. I want a tackle box. I understand the demand. End of answer. I want overmelds to be more risky. I know, right? The equipment also blew up when you failed melds in 1.0. Oh, Yoshida, those were dark times, man. That felt bad when you'd craft something really expensive and you'd be like, okay, I'm gonna try to pentameld it. I'm gonna try to pentameld it. And it was like even lower odds back then. Oh god, it was pretty hilarious though. I'll give him that. But that was his. He didn't say yes or no. He just said, "I know, right?" Back when someone asked if you could reset cooldowns when we entered instance areas, you said it was difficult. How about resetting cooldowns when you clear the content? That's actually interesting because, yeah, if you do things back to back, it's weird beating a boss, leaving, going back in immediately, and your cooldowns aren't reset. He says adding another process is difficult. So he basically just gave the same answer he gave about resetting cooldowns upon entering or upon resetting years ago, which means it's not out of the question. Can you let us store mod station items in the armoire? Items that get added to the armoire are in like a queue, like, hey, these items will be added next, then these items next. So when they add new items, then it's an eventual thing. Be sure to use the new Glamour Wardrobe and the Chocobo Saddlebag to store items. And don't forget, if you have open space on your retainers. Anything you can tell us about Eureka? If he gives any small details, people will misunderstand. And that's true, because when he tries to explain that it has its own progression system, people then go, oh, so it's like Palace of the Dead. And he goes, no, it's not like Palace of the Dead, but what you just said sounds like Palace of the Dead. He's like, I know, but that's because you don't know the whole thing. Just wait till I tell you everything. That's pretty much what he's telling us with Eureka. Just wait. Please. Well, 4.2 adjustments to maps include Aquapolis. So this is a little bit more details from the last question. Yes. So Aquapolis is something I've been actually thinking of diving back into because nobody does it, so the stuff in there is worth quite a bit on some servers. The adjustments include item level sync, amount of loot, and drop rates on the maps. I'm wondering if they're going to bump the item level sync or if they're going to remove it, because I don't know what Aquapolis would be like with no item level sync, but I can tell you it would be easy. Amount of loot, drop rates on the maps you get inside, all that stuff's going to be seeing adjustments in 4.2. Can you expand the range on where you can hear the seasonal event music? He'll put the request forward to Soken. Can you allow us to only change the color of our eyes via colored context? And he says, I think it's about time we allow players to customize eye color. So it seems like he's on board with the idea. So those of you who want that, looks like you may just be getting it. Before you force beginners to leave beginners chat when they meet the requirements, I want you to show a warning message so they understand. Okay, that's it. Is there going to be another deep dungeon? Yes, we already knew the answer to that. They're working on developing it. Where are you able to snowboard this season? That's a personal question. Have you overcome airplane fright or your fear of flying? No. Can you add new hair colors? Process is difficult, but I have accepted your request. Can you do something about almost every trousers looking the same above the ankle and how it's short? We have to consider including the shoes, so it's quite difficult. I always personally ask for the designers to do a retake. With skirts, they'll do the problem of solving the problems with legs clipping through them. Any plans on allowing squadron members to have jobs? Eventually, if it makes the content interesting, then they might allow them to have jobs. We don't have that much to buy with wolf marks. Any plans on adding something? Please wait a little longer. I think 4.25 we're getting a new set of PvP gear, if I'm not mistaken, but I don't know. That's just off the top of my head. I could be wrong. Will the 4.2 dungeon gear be dyeable? I wouldn't understand why it would. It's a reskinned version of an existing set. So he says, if he remembers correctly, you can't, and that's what I expected. Can you split the head and glasses to be two different categories? People asking this all the time. There's someone asking this in the video I did before this one. Any plans on having accessories just for glamour outside of seasonal items? No. We use that on seasonal items, so no. Can you add more items we can buy with yellow scripts? There isn't much we can do. They will be more. They will be adding more. Blowkiss emote where the hearts actually fly. Hurry, hurry. Seasonal emotes and items from the past will be added to the log station. So that'll be in February approximately. No, I mean almost definitely. I always attend the fan fest with my child. I'd be happy if you sold t-shirts for kids. He'll let them know. Will you add the Ultimate series to the Raid Finder? Probably not. We're already developing the next Ultimate content, meaning active development, and they're already talking about what the Ultimate fight will be for 4.5. So well underway the work for Ultimate. What is your favorite alcohol, wine, and Japanese sake? Ooh, I like the man with refined taste, but you got to get some whiskey in there, Yoshida. I love Final Fantasy Tactics and 12, so I really enjoyed Rabinaster. Thanks. He says a lot will be happening in the next Evilise raid, so please look forward to it. Is bike mount idea gone? Nope, it's in the garage, and they'd like to do something with it when the time comes. Ooh. If I send Chrome Hearts as a present, will it reach you? Please don't send anything valuable. I don't have any Chrome Hearts, but he'll have trouble dealing with receiving something that valuable. kind of like, I can imagine, like, almost uncomfortable for receiving a gift of that caliber. Collecting allied seals is a pain. Can you increase the amount of hunts per day week? I'm assuming when they say that, they mean the A Realm Reborn hunts, like the ones you could just go to the board and do. And he says he'll tell the person in charge. Do you like fighting games? He was a Third Strike fan, and he almost quit his job over playing that game. That wouldn't have been good for us. I'd like you to revise how raid gear... I mean, he's talking about way before, obviously. But still, if he quit his job then would he be doing what he does now? You know what I mean? I'd like you to revise how raid gear is the only strongest gear for each patch cycle and how it's useless after the next. For example, add special effects buff so you can use it after the patch cycle is over. So we've heard this a million times before. We also know that he said they'd been considering adding set bonuses. So the information regarding this is mixed. Adding special effects buffs will affect the game balance as a whole. So we have a policy where unless those effects are limited to a certain area... The editor's note says hints to Eureka. We won't have them in the game. That brings up a great topic. If Eureka has gear sets that only change your abilities when in Eureka, that creates a whole nother discussion that we can't get into here and that we may have to do in a follow-up video. But we should probably get the information about Eureka first, probably in February. Anyway, can you do something about how your soul crystal has your name labeled on it? It's a bug. They'll fix the bug. Can you allow us to flip our hairstyles horizontally? He'll ask the character team. Only 20 slots for your garden is too little for a small house. Can you lift the limit? They're going to fix the current housing plot problem, and then they'll consider other stuff. You said it's okay to perform 14 music. Is it okay to perform Fate music from 11 from the Final Fantasy 11 and Dragon Quest crossover event? Please avoid that if possible. If it's not possible, then, you know, if there's no way you can possibly avoid manually playing these songs, then obviously, you know, just try to avoid it, you know. Can you lift the item level sync by 10 levels, 10 item levels for Alamigo? I personally feel disappointed when I get it. If they raise it any higher, new tanks are screwed. We all saw that one coming a mile away. And this is the last question from the... Which server is this? Masamune? Yeah, so last question from the Masamune server. This is a question regarding housing. Can you allow us to remove chocobos from the stable when the owners haven't logged in for a while? He says, not a bad idea. He'll tell the team. And I don't think it's a bad idea either. So that's just one of the servers, and that's how long that took to go over. And we are going to cover this entire post in this video. So next we have Ramu. This time they didn't even do questions, they just put answers. So here's a bunch of answers Yoshi P gave. Please look forward to the future for mounts with over 3 seats. Final Fantasy 15 car. Adding notifications for friends logging in is difficult because it can be abused for harassment. Understandable. Roses are a close second to being... rose, not roses. Please. Rose are a close second to being his favorite race, but of course, Yoshida's favorites are Lalafels. They have plans of adding a Dodo mount. Okay. The Eureka emote, that's the one, not Eureka. Eureka being the one we go, and the exclamation mark pops up. That's going to be added to the Mog Station soon. The fat cat is actually a kitty cat, but it won't grow anymore. We have tried to test bare feet as a form of glamour. Didn't work out well. It's difficult for making mount decorations shake properly. They are considering and discussing having a normal 8-man roulette, meaning Omega normal and Alexander normal. I think considering we didn't get the 24-man roulette until we had 6 entries, it would be understandable that maybe once we get 6 entries in the normal raid roulette, that would probably exist. So good to hear that they're considering it. Please wait a little longer for Alphino and Alisae's outfit in the Mog Station. We are considering showing who vote kicked you. That's interesting, because I don't know what people plan to do with that information outside of report people for abuse cases. So I think that's the main reason they would add it, is so, hey, I was doing nothing wrong in this dungeon. I was vote kicked for no reason. I was a victim of vote kick abuse. You report it to the GMs, and they can research through and figure out what happened. Okay, so yeah, that might be a thing. Allowing players to return inside your room is difficult because of system restrictions. Players can tell when friends move servers and which servers they move to, so considering allowing players to hide and show that information. Basically, when you move servers, the people who knew your old character shouldn't be able to tell that what server you're going to, where you're going, etc., etc. We are still testing the feature where you can participate in instance battles you have already cleared, basically replaying main scenario stuff like the Grand Melee, for example. We are still testing the feature where you can participate. Oh, sorry, I just read that. I want insoles for so my rogue can look taller. Rows aren't Kimitaku, who's a Japanese pop star, so no. I will be adding, we will be adding Ozim Step themed furniture in the future. Facial emotes expressions will continue to be added. They might add a higher free company rank if there's a good reason to have it. There won't be guild versus guild content for a while. We have had plans for siege battles, but have had trouble with the weapons themselves. I can tell in Rival Wings. No plan on having split jobs like Arcanist, the Scholar, and Summoner in the future. That's never going to happen again. He said it before, but we have now a recent source of it. So no more asking about that. It's difficult to allow players to move items from one retainer or to the other. I want to buy Beast Tribe mounts with each Beast Tribe currency, just like the recent Striped Ray. What? I will send it to the person in charge. I want to buy Beast Tribe mounts with each Beast Tribe currency. Are you saying that you want to be able to use other currencies to buy them, so you don't have to? Maybe, I don't know. I'll tell the team your complaint on when a male row rides a mount with coral breach briefs on, his thighs get sandwiched. I want that sentence on like a mug or something. Oh, you buy them with Gil with the other beast tribes. Okay, that's what it is. Okay, so you use, really? Okay, yeah, that makes sense. You buy them with the beast tribe currency. That makes the most sense. I don't understand why they didn't do that in the first place. It's been so long, I had honestly forgotten. I like that. Okay, so do that. Going back to the beast tribe thing, it makes sense. I had forgotten the old mounts were bought with Gil. So please, I actually like this change then for other players. If we create lore on how it contains juice instead of alcohol, they might be able to add a shaker emote. Obviously not trying to promote alcohol use. Gatherers and crafters want new content. Didn't you know there was Hamlets in 1.0? Meh. Please don't. Anyway, we want to explore the possibility of having hints written in dungeons, but the translation is difficult. There's an example of what he means by that, but we're not going to go through all of that. It may take some time, but they're trying to unlock race-specific hairstyles for other races. There will be more Eggy Glamour in the future. Really? I'd given up hope. All right. Confirmed. The reason why Y'shtola is representative of Final Fantasy XIV and other games is because Makotes are what represent Final Fantasy XIV the most. It's really sad when the truth hits you. It really is. Moving on to Gungnir questions. Anyway, okay, so now this is the last thing that's on this Reddit post in particular, unless they've updated it, and I will refresh it at the end of the video just to make sure. Any plans on adding gear where you can look like an imp? He gets that request frequently, so he'll tell the team. Any updates to Eternal Bonding? There will be updates to it, but they haven't started working on it yet. It's weird that you need to use Gazal Grain to summon your buddy. Can you turn it into a whistle instead? He said your buddy needs to eat to fight. Any plans on increasing the limit of your friends list link shell? Can we send delivery moogles to other servers? We're currently working on crossover link shell, so please wait until that is done. The friend list limit, it's tough. Less than 5% have the friend list full, so it's like a really small percentage of people that actually have filled it. And also, we need you to wait for crossover delivery moogle. He said, please wait, not we're not doing it. Just pay attention to that, because that's important. Will you ever implement a flute? Probably. Any changes to Monk? Not going to talk about job adjustments until January 19th. Please wait for that. Hurry up and fix Rival Wings. The blue team is disadvantaged. They're working on it. They're also making changes to the center generator. Are you going to sell special goods at the Sapporo Snow Festival? That's a physical event, so that's a shop plan. When will we see the next relic? The weapons and armor will come the same time as Eureka. We knew that already. When are there going to be? How are you going to sell new plots? They're not telling people to right before it goes live. Will there be new hairstyles at 4.2? Yes. Which music track is the most emotional for you from 14? A World Apart. Will you ever fix a problem where furniture disappears when you place too many of them? First he says that that's probably because you're running on 32-bit Windows. Change to a 64-bit OS, and then they'll stop disappearing. Somebody else commented further, you can only place 40 items with gimmicks right now. And I want you to lift that limitation, and once again, stress, difficult, the usual. Aren't you going to have an orchestra concert in the Kansai district, west of Japan? They said they'd like to do another one. Any plans on adding the cutscene specific emote, Surprised, as a player emote, the one where you are over the top and spread on your arms? Some of the cutscene only emotes will be added in 4.2, so please look forward to it. Hi. Now is a perfect example, but can you do something about the limitation of the amount of players the PS4 can show? He says it's not limited to the PS4. It's probably the same with the PC. The reason why we limit the numbers so your PS4 doesn't overheat. When are we going to get Stormblood soundtrack? Asks Soken. Any plans on having a full screen mode for the Mac version? The middleware side is negotiating. They don't sell G13s anymore. Do you have enough stocked up? He's got 5 stocked up. Good on you, Yoshida. Don't let Stinian go. Stinian is a loner. Okay. I want raincoats and water-themed gear based on creatures like imps and frogs. When it comes to glamour gear requests, they come one by one, but they'll get to them, and they want to make many of them come true. Will we ever have craftable Alexander raid gear? It's already dyeable, so no. or no plans at the moment. Can you do something about our hair disappearing when you have a hat on? That's the same as the hat and glasses problem, probably, so it's kind of difficult. When will you open the locked servers like Gungnir? Wait, aren't these questions from Gungnir? These questions are from Gungnir. I guess it's appropriate. If you came to Gilgamesh, I would have asked the same thing a few months ago. We are looking at precise numbers to equal out the population on each server, so please wait a little longer. You see the ether flowing around the Warrior of Light when it teleports, but it's not blue, which represents light. Jesus. Is there a reason why it's purple, like the umbral element? It says it's probably because it's trying to look closer to the teleport effect of 1.0, but that's why. More information on Sigma. Wait. There you go. Each roll in the feast is an enormous gap between each other when it comes to how much weight they carry, and it's weird how all the rolls are on the same ranking board. Are we always going to be on one board? He says he sees that it is a bit troublesome and that they want to prioritize balancing PvP as a group, and as soon as that's done, they'll have discussions with the team in charge. Okay. Are you going to ever expand on our inventory itself? Obviously, they said we would get 2 inventory increases. I don't know why I did this. 2 inventory increases when the expansion came out. We got 1 of them when it came out, and we're getting the saddlebags next. So he says it's difficult to do the normal increase, so they're going to start with the saddlebag and get the feedback on that, and then decide what the next step is actually going to be. Can you allow us to meld 10 in a row when we overmeld instead of 1 by 1? But what if you succeed in the first 5? Then, He says you can't. The way it's processed means you can't. Ishgardian housing area, fix the current housing area, and then they'll worry about other stuff later. Any plans on adjusting the amount of grade 5 and 6 material we get? There's always small adjustments, so please look forward to it. Can you add costumes based on enemies like Asians? Not really. Not for a while, at least. But they can do Imperial soldiers. Yay. Will Ishgard fully recover? Probably not, and that's mostly a phasing thing, because when new players come in, it has to look beat up. So, with phasing, probably not a big thing they're looking forward to doing in Ishgard. So probably won't. Any adjustments to Scholar? Scholars are behind the other 2 healers, so I'm hoping they get better. And he's just like, Scholars aren't behind. And I agree. They're absolutely not. So this was a weird question. Somebody else said, how about Machinists? He goes, there's nothing wrong with them either. In terms of numbers, there's not. They may not be that fun to play, but Machinist and Scholar are both very effective. So, weird questions. Any plans on nerfing content mechanics you can't solo even if it's unsynced? He says, no, we're not using our resource on making stuff more soloable. We want to make more group content. The Mog Station gear is filling my bag up. Can you allow us to put it in the armoire? Works by managing and saving flags. We need to gradually add them. This is the same as the other question we had before. If you put your items in the Glamour wardrobe and they disappear, do we have to buy it in the Mog Station again? No, it doesn't delete the item, it stocks it. So you can remove it from the Glamour wardrobe. So no, you don't have to buy it again. For players who started playing after watching the Dad of Light, content like the diadem is unplayable now, you know? And he says he doesn't know if they want to touch on it or close it. They're working on Eureka now, and then diadem maybe afterwards. They might close diadem and put the reward someplace else, but they haven't decided yet. Will we ever be able to cross data center? It's a hard task. It doesn't say anything else. Or catching scrolls from old dungeons that don't exist in the game anymore. Will we get them if we ask for them? Please tell us, and then we can add them. I want to save the filters and lighting settings from the group pose feature. If that's saved on the client side, maybe. He'll tell the UI team. Can you do something about how we only get achievements for one of the 3 states? He says they'd like to do something about that eventually. I want you to allow us to move hotbars from PC to PS4, and they are currently planning PC, PS4, and Net Cafe adaptations. So please wait for further news. Can you at least add more slots to the ring slot in our armory chest? Just doing 1 is a little difficult. The waiting for tanks problem isn't solved yet. So, do you have plans on adding systems like pouring in EXP from one job to another? Meaning you could gain EXP at like level 70 on your tank, and then just take like this pool of EXP and just pour it onto the DPS. And he said, they've come up with that idea before, but can you really even call that experience? They put it back on the shelf. The lack of tanks is always a problem in MMOs. I agree with that, so what are you going to do? Will you ever get a chance to get the maid outfit again? If the opportunity arrives, yeah. Will you ever allow the use of the sleep wake up emote we can see at the inn? They're hesitant because of the recent controversy where people were taking like lewd images and linking them in the game itself, and they were putting the Square Enix copyright on them. So they're afraid of that emote in particular being used for some particularly inappropriate screenshots. Will you allow us to eat while you're sitting? Working on that. Now that you have shared macros, can you allow us to have share HUD layouts? He said it would help if you use the copy-paste feature instead. So no. I want a mannequin as furniture. We've been asking for that for like 3-4 years now. They have plans, but they haven't gotten it to it yet because of other priorities. Can you make stands for us so we can leave messages? One of the tasks. Basically meaning like if somebody comes by your house, they can read like a little message on a board and it'd be like, hello, go fuck yourself. You know, obviously it wouldn't say that, but that's an example. Maybe it does say that. Who knows? Can you do something about the anti-activities that a certain famous players are doing? If it's in regards to harassment, please report it. It seems like a famous player from a different MMO game is logging into 14 to bash it and the players and causing drama. So they're literally the only reason they play. They just like log in with a low-level account and just do that. Yeah, I mean, if they're harassing players, then yeah, I mean, you can, as long as it falls under harassment. Can we have a booking system where we can book certain content with specifications and let it notify us so that if the matching conditions appear in the party finder, it'll tell us? That's a really cool idea, and he says it sounds difficult, but he doesn't say they won't do it. That's a really cool idea. I like that. And can we have a minion of our own character? That's a tough request, but it will be nice if we can provide a service where you can 3D print and turn your character into a figurine. That would also be expensive. And that is all of the Q&A out of those 3 servers. I'm going to press refresh real quick, scroll through it, make sure nothing new is added. Nope, looks like it's exactly the same. And those are the translations we have from Masamune, Gungnir, and Ramu. So thank you again, Carrier of Light, for all the translations. A lot of interesting information, a lot of little tidbits in there. And it's good to get those kind of things asked here instead of, you know, during a live letter or a live Q&A or anything like that. But anyway, that's part 2. If another server Q&A pops up, I might do a 3rd video of all these translations. But take that information with what you will, discuss it below. And on that note, I'm going to get back to my Twitch stream, which I've been on this whole time, and they've been watching me, and they're talking about me in the chat right now. And I'm going to go play some Chrono Trigger. So thank you for watching this on YouTube. Be sure to like, favorite, subscribe, and share. Twitch, let's play some Chrono Trigger in a few minutes. So I will see you guys in a few minutes. I'll see you. Well, we'll get to that in a few minutes. And on YouTube, I'll see you guys next time. Until then, take care.